How many sworn officers do we have?
27
Correct.
So 27 is what we have allotted
today.
tomorrow, well, when we pass the bill,
We will go back to 28.
28.
If you pass this budget, it would go to 28. Right now, we have 3 vacancies.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have, what we're at 80, 85% full. We still are recruiting for 3 more to bring us to the 27.
Okay. So what about license plate readers?
That's not in.
I see.
We had one this year that we put in.
The license plate reader?
Yeah. Yeah, we have 2 stationary.
Two stationary, but what about the mobile?
We don't have any mobile in the budget. We had to cut it.
So,
Sorry.
How much were they?
yeah, what's the
They're
cost for
20
them?
apiece,
Right.
20,000 apiece.
Is there any kind of recurring fees with those?
There are a little bit of maintenance,
Okay.
but, of course.
So what do you think the overall cost for a year would be?
We can put that together for you. We could put that together for you.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was when you first tested it, or I didn't think it had to do with the stationary. You talked about amazing results in just a very short period of time. I know we don't like to think in terms of it paying for itself, but if we're finding cars that are violating or are stolen or whatever, it may.
It will. Statistically, all the cities that participate in that, in fact, even when we were in our testing and evaluation phase, we were able to identify that had we purchased that, it would pay for itself.
And that 20,000, is that for a set of 2 for a car, or is that per?
That is per car. Now, the cost can
That's true.
incrementally go down a couple of $1,000s the more you add.
You have to wire it into the system, don't you?
Right,
Yeah.
but it's basically 20,000 per vehicle.
And then the 2 full-time patrol cars, you know, how much is a patrol car? Is it
Fully
like
outfitted, it's
50?
around $43,000.
Okay.
That's with the lights, the computers, the car, everything.
So how important is the new patrol car? Is it worth 2 license plate readers? Like, if you could say, all right, I'll give up 1 patrol car, but I can get 2 license plate readers to run 24 hours a day.
That is a great question. They're really so different in functionality, and I understand your
Right.
question. They're both very important. I'd say fundamentally, probably the patrol cars, because it's a primary function of what we do. But the license plate reader is a very important tool that could definitely will benefit when you're able to implement.
So what about used cars?
I think that is a viable option if we can find them that are warranted and certified. In fact, that is the direction that William and I talked about, and it's not my favorite choice because, sometimes in those you pick up maintenance costs that end up costing you as much as if you would have purchased a new car.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily the case, and that it could very well be a viable option.
Okay, so I want to get a license plate reader. And is the reason we need more patrol cars is because we allow them to have take-home cars?
Yes, that is a part of it, for sure. The other part of it is assigning vehicles to the officer. We show that the maintenance is much less. There's more accountability in the vehicle, and so it's, even when we didn't allow the officers to take them home, we were assigning them and holding them accountable.
But we've got some Crown Vics that we're literally
Yeah, we still.
Right, I know, I've seen them.
almost taking them together.
So, if we say we have 27 sworn officers now, does that mean we have 25 patrol cars? Each officer has their own patrol car
Well, yes,
assigned to them?
but it's not only the patrol cars. Now, we also have the detectives that they're in unmarked vehicles. So
Okay.
that part of the fleet includes unmarked.
And one of them is yours, and you don't take it home.
Right, that's true, yes.
I see them on Mountaineer driving.
Yes.
But see, with the tag reader, I just see that as the obvious thing is to be preemptive in terms of stopping crime instead of just chasing crime. It's maybe catching it as it comes through the city. If that gets out, that you don't go into April with something illegal, that would be fine with me.
Yes. And there is an option, now this may be getting a little farther ahead, but if we were to do the lease as we've done on the other vehicles, the license plate readers can be added to the lease, which would obviously be more of an expense per car, but it could be to help, mitigate an immediate
Yeah, in other
cost.
words,
Does
if
that
we were
make
to
it
bump up
cheaper?
the payment a few
$100
$100.
spreads it out.
Spread it out.
Just to spread it out in the.
Cost goes from 43 to probably 63 over 5 years, I think is the usual.
Yeah, we finance them over 4 or 5
I don't
years.
think interest rates that
But-
significant, I think it's fairly strong.
I'm thinking that if we do that one license plate reader, then does that one car become the car that everybody, make sure every shift has that riding around? And it
That's,
cannot be assigned to one person?
that's what I would
That's a great
want.
question. And ultimately, ideally, we would have one license plate reader per shift. So
Right.
that would be a total of 4. Now, obviously, that's way up the road.
You can't run a
But
car
that would be an
24 hours a
ideal
day.
situation. So we have full coverage all the time in the city with the license plate readers.
Why can't we run it 24 hours?
Well, we could. What we would have to
I
do.
tell you what, if you all,
Well,
we also have camera money in the IT budget. We could swap, if you value the license plate reader more, we could possibly swap funds for that. Just
We want it all.
Yeah,
we want our cake and eat it too.
yeah.
And if revenue was
Just
falling
fine.
out of the sky, that would be a problem.
Other questions here before we go?
Well, tell me if I'm asking anything I shouldn't ask, but I don't think I am. How many of the cars, how many people live in Hateville, the patrols? I mean, would that be maybe first choice for license readers, is cars that stay in Hateville?
Absolutely. And yes, we do have several. In fact, that's a great question because I was asked that the other day. I think we have a total of 7 or 8 officers right now, but some of them are detectives. So with that, yes, we could definitely prioritize that in that manner. That way it's always in the city. But keeping in mind, when the officer is off duty, the vehicle would just be parked in their yard.
I understand,
So, but yeah, I think that's a great way to deploy those.
unless it could become a stationary reader.
Yeah,
Yeah, could it,
it's true.
okay, now, with that one patrol car, if we had it, with the license plate reader, could we have it running multiple shifts and make it a pool car?
Yes, yes, we could. In fact, right out of the gate, I think that would be the best.
Because I want that thing running,
Yes, absolutely.
I want it to get worn out.
Especially
I
if
want
it's
those
a
keys on
newer
that
car.
keyboard to get worn out.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
and
that would be
also, it's
best.
not gonna be doing our 2.6 square miles, the whole time. They might park over there at Sylvan Road or
Yeah.
at, on Virginia Avenue and just read what goes by.
Yeah.
So it does, and I don't know, does the motor have to be running while the camera's reading the license plate?
Well, mostly.
The current draw, probably so.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
battery issue at that point.
Because it's not just the
Hate to catch
camera.
one and not be able to crank it
Can
up.
it?
Are the stationary readers static, or do they move from time to time?
They're static.
There's that.
They're static.
Yeah, because what they're configured so that they are pointing at a specific area to catch the oncoming traffic. If you
Well, we know
move
the
it
flow
around-
areas, I
Right.
assume
And if you move it, you could lose the calibration on it. So
Okay.
that's why.
So could
But it
we,
does pick up all the traffic on that road, in
Right.
both directions.
Exactly.
could we move it at some point? Like, once that thing becomes known and dead, because they go another direction,
It could be moved.
could it be moved?
Yeah, did you put them where, we asked them where you want them, and they're where he said.
And I would say that the particular area.
Yeah,
is-
that would be the one thing is there would have to be additional calibration on it because
Right.
with the lenses, yeah.
Yeah, not just software calibration, the lenses are made specifically for the height and angle of that. I mean, there's some variation. Yes, it could be moved, but it's not easily. It's
Okay.
not just a matter of, hey, let's put a pole over here.
It's not
let's have
plug
a
and
wall
play.
over there.
Right.
How much
Okay.
did the
Yeah.
stationary
Very
readers
careful.
cost?
I don't remember exactly.
Are they 20,000?
No, they weren't that much. I mean, I want to say we're talking, the stationary ones were about 7 or 8K, I believe.
So
Well,
if we have main thoroughfares that don't have it yet, that's something to look at as well.
Also
Yeah,
realize
That's
that
24 hours.
on the mobile units, it's not just a single camera. I think there's 3 or 4
Four
cameras
cameras.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
on a mobile unit.
Okay.
And when we're talking about stationary, it's 2 cameras because you get both directions,
One
right?
direction.
The road going both ways.
And we
So it's less
also-
cameras.
And we also have to put it where we have a connectivity for the Wi-Fi to get the signal back to the processor. So We had to actually get Comcast engaged to run the connection.
But I'm just thinking, we pretty much know what our main arteries are. If we could add a couple, that would sure help, because there's only that many, so a few entries, it's like coming into.
And that is in the IT
Yeah,
budget.
it is in the IT budget, just to add a couple
We have
more.
IT budget.
Basically, we have the master plan of where the camera should go, and so we're trying to do it incrementally. Ideally, of course, we'd love to do it all in the upcoming fiscal year, but just, when looking at the budget, it just wasn't feasible. So what we'll plan on doing is, about a third this year, we've done a third this year, do a third next year, and, the following year, try to get the last third.
Because in most cities where they have these cameras on cars, we'll find them at intersections.
Yeah.
Going into city limits. Fayette County's got several of them, and they'll set up down around Old National, where Old National comes into 314, they'll set up there all the time. So if you had them static, then that changes that situation.
And if it's cheaper and we got our main arteries done, that would be great.
Okay, so is there kind of a direction or a preference?
Let's wait till we get to the IT
Okay.
budget. Is that cool, guys?
Yeah.
Wait till we get to the IT budget, and then we'll.
All right, so y'all ready to move to the next one?
I'm ready, y'all ready?
Yeah. I'm good with this.
Okay, let's talk about the fire department. Right here, we're looking at an FTE count that is stable at 31. Basically, as I mentioned to you before, we have some testing that has not been done in long time. That needs to happen so that we can make promotions and get an adequate chain of command in place for Chief Bloodworth. And also lines up better with all of his training standards and the SOPs he's trying to put in place to make the department function properly. So again, what we're doing here is we're maintaining the staffing levels where we found some dollars to do the testing and promote the chain of command when that process is finished. And then, of course, we found a little money for a portion of the dry cut extrication saws. And we're up just a little bit in the fire budget, and Chief Bloodworth is here if you have any specific questions.
So Chief, I know that we talked about the grant. Did we get that grant? About getting extra firefighters?
No, this is
Yeah, that comes in,
next year.
next year, 2018.
Oh, okay, so we won't know about that
Right.
for.
Yeah, we won't know that.
We applied for it, but we're still waiting.
Okay, so this, none of those costs are involved, because we had to pay something of that, right? Like 20%, 25% of those
Yeah, it
firefighters?
varies, basically, something like the police department does. Yeah, because it goes basically like that.
Okay.
Over 3 years.
Okay,
Is it safe to say that we don't miss a single grant possibility that comes up like this?
Pretty safe to say, in fact, we have a crew working on grants
Okay.
right now.
I just want to be sure we don't miss anything that's out there.
yeah. Another question, Chief. I know that I talked to a few of the firefighters, and they've come up with this sort of way they want to do the pay with hours of education, with all of that kind of stuff, and promotions and stuff. Is that what this is, staff promotions?
Well, yeah, this is putting us back, because as of right now, we're not in a, basically, a chain of command. We've got lieutenants running the station, that's basically it.
And no, I'm sorry, for my ignorance, who normally runs a station in a fire station?
Well, normally your battalion chiefs.
Okay.
You usually have it, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to be doing promotions to battalion chiefs. Once we get those completed, we will go to promotions of our lieutenants and then our sergeants.
Okay.
And then we'll have our ranking staff in set.
Okay.
But it all has to be done by a testing process that is vetted and fair by legal, and we've got that all ready to go.
Yeah,
it's all ready.
because that's really important.
We just didn't have the funds aside, and now we do.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, what you were talking about before, that was a career matrix.
Okay.
We're trying to instill, and what that does, that makes people want to go to school and get these classes to better themselves.
Okay. And so that's not part of this right now?
No, this is not.
Okay.
That's all
Okay.
part of the whole. nother-
That could be something else
Yes.
once more funds are available. Okay.
Anything else?
So I know there were some questions about a new, I think with the citizen chalkboard, about a new ambulance.
Yes, sir.
So is there something wrong with that? I thought that other ambulance is pretty new.
Well, Med 1's 7 years old, and Med 2 is 14 years old. And according to 911, we're supposed to replace them every 5 years or up to 100,000 miles. Med 2 has over 100,000.
Okay.
So, and it's,
7 years on that truck already. Wow.
yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Those like dog years?
We could count it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because we're not at the right years, well, we under
No, it's just, that's a recommendation.
recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're just running them and piecing them, fixing them as they break and stuff like that.
How much does,
There is some changes that's gonna come in 2018, which will have, we may have to do some modifications to the trucks we have now because of the stretcher situation. Because in the past with ambulances that have wrecked, stretchers have come loose. So now, Georgia EMS or Region 3 EMS is trying to pass it through legislation on these. Well, it actually has passed, but come 2018, we'll be replacing all our stretcher locks. And that's secure where you can flip the truck over and the stretcher goes nowhere.
okay.
Because that's what it is right now, they just basically go in, they wasn't designed for rollovers, basically. But
Oh,
they-
wow. So you roll that thing over and patient falls and the stretcher falls on top of them?
Yeah, because they're not intended to be upside down.
One day we'll have seatbelts in school buses. Who
You know
knows?
what, we pushed for that for years with safety at Georgia.
Makes no sense.
I made that joke a lot at school. When I have to like get on the bus, to like watch the bus when the bus driver goes to the bathroom or something. Like, all right, kid, I'll be a bus driver. Everybody put your seatbelts on. We don't have seatbelts. So that's my go-to joke for them. Okay. So how much does Med Truck 2 run? Is it fully
Every time
funded,
it-
fully
well,
staffed?
This is how we operate Med 2 what we do, Med 2 will run when Med 1 is down or in the shop, or if we get a 15-minute or more on a mutual aid. Like if our ambulance is out, we gotta have another ambulance. If it takes over 15 minutes, if they give us a 15-minute ETA, we put Med 2 in service and transport.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
put the personnel on it, it just takes 2 more personnel out of the city.
Well, let me say something about having our own ambulance.
It's huge.
I was at South Fulton Municipal when they had the meet and greet for the South Fulton, the new city of South Fulton. I went to the South Fulton Municipal Association because we had, Diane was going to the other, and we was going to the other, so we have representation of other places. But one of the mayors told a story about having to wait. He witnessed a serious accident, and he had to wait like 30 minutes for AMR to get transported. So I can't begin to tell you how valuable, and we're one of the few departments in the state that are allowed to transport, and that's a valuable commodity. So I just want us to always remember that, but, you know, and as we're talking through this whole budget process, Hayful has top-notch services, and it takes people to provide them, and it takes equipment to provide them. So I just want us to kind of keep in our mind the whole time through that those are the fundamentals of the city, or those services and those operations and those people and that equipment.
And that's why I have tattooed on my chest, in case of emergency, I'm waiting for the HAPO guys. Don't call Brady, don't call anybody.
You're not North Carolina with that.
Chief, the difference between the two ambulances in terms of the services they can render, is there a huge difference? Is one of them equipped
What-
differently?
Yeah,
Yes.
the ambulances that we have, is there any difference in the equipment and capability?
No, there's a, well.
When you say 1 and 2, is that just numbered, or is
Yeah,
that?
that's just the way they're numbered, Med 1, Med 2. Med 2 is an older ambulance and it's a bigger mod, which means the box is a lot bigger on it. Those are some that we purchased back when Eddie was here. And we got the bigger box, because you got more room in the back to be able to move around. But as the numbers get crunched, we went a little smaller with Med 1. But, no, they both have the same, they're both equipped with, PAC 15s, which we have capabilities of doing 12 lead EKGs. Like you go get your physical and they do a 12 lead, we do them in the back of the truck. So we have all those capabilities in both of them. They're both set up identical. Just the trucks look different.
You know, I tend to think outside the box, and I don't know if this is worth thinking about, but is there ever such a need that when they assess a problem, that you could actually use a third vehicle that's less equipped to transport or to handle something that's of a less serious nature? Am I making any sense in the question?
Well, yeah, and you know, years ago, it used to be that way. You used to actually have private services that run BLS trucks. But, you know, once the zoning came in and got zoned out, like with AMR over here, it's been a requirement for ALS because you got to get a higher standard treatment. So if you get a basic unit, that's what you get. You get a ride to the hospital. That's basically it. You
Cheers
get
for
with
the top.
advance, you get all the bells and whistles. You get everything. They're basically like a nurse in the back of the ambulance.
It's incredible.
But actually, they're a little bit better trained, to be honest with you, because I'm working at the
Cuter too.
In fact, we're, at the next agenda, I think we have 2 saves we're gonna recognize.
Yeah, we sure do. We actually got a cardiac save and a trauma save.
You know, my dad,
So our guys are good.
And as a matter of fact, I just got a text from EJ Daly. She actually said we have some certificates to pick up from Georgia EMS for those saves. They'll actually put it under the CARES thing that we do, the contract we do, well, not a contract, but we send in information, we feed it into the hospitals with the Emory. And because we've got these saves and stuff, they have recognized us, but of course, it was last week sometime that they got them, we got to go pick it up.
You were saying
yeah,
something.
yeah, my dad had to call you guys, I think, a few months ago, having trouble breathing and all sorts of stuff. They came in 2 minutes. You know, my parents used to live on the north side, near Oak Grove. That would have never happened. Never happened. And it ended up that he had deep vein thrombosis or blood clots in his legs, and they broke loose. And he had, he had, what is it when they get blood clots in the lungs?
Embolus, this.
Yeah. So he had 2 blood clots in each lung.
Yeah, it's a pulmonary.
Yeah, pulmonary embolisms in both lungs. So
Yeah, he's lucky.
it was,
It's
yeah,
much better.
He's lucky.
yeah.
Look,
So thank you guys. All right.
anything further? All right, we'll go to the next one. Okay, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about community services. These are the guys that are everywhere and do everything. Love them, they really work hard. These are the folks out there taking care of the streets, taking care of the stormwater, taking care of the traffic signals, you know, the garbage pickup, the water and the sewer delivery. I mean, they're just all over the place. They do an amazing job. And right now, we're at 33 FTEs or full-time employees, and we're recommending we stay at that same level for next fiscal year. It's kind of a breakdown. The highway and streets is down quite a bit. It seemed like there was some sort of, Sarah, what did we say, a bond payoff there? Okay. What was that?
Basically, in 2014, we subsidized the development authority for one of the bond payments.
Okay.
The bond payments, and so since the development authority is able to make payment this year, we don't project as much having to fund out of streets.
Okay.
So that's why that number's down. And again, they did some trimming. They do a great job with what they have to work with. So Lee is here. We'll get to the capital projects. That's also under Lee. And they also manage that process as well. And again, Lee is that he didn't have enough to do already. He's going to take on T-Splosh. He's my main man for that. We'll be coming forward in August to talk about, you know, the details of that.
So is that pretty much all, where all the cutting happened, Lee, was the development authority bond?
pretty much.
Okay. So I see that we're doing other stuff like replacing the work trucks and hiring, what is it, 1 part-time, 2 part-time?
No, we're
What's
Staffing
PC?
staff.
Oh, okay.
just getting 2 trucks.
Yeah, staffing, staff changes.
So these are like the F-150s that we're replacing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That really old one that, I forget the guy's name, who picks up the trash.
Diorio? Ed Diorio? Leonardo.
The one that he drives, that thing is
Oh,
ancient.
we got an 87 model, I think, we got a couple of 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, but we got
I
Tony
wore,
Henson.
I wore 28 lace breeches when we bought that truck.
87, we want to know what I was wearing? I think I was still in diapers.
Let me ask about the stormwater fund, 174. Am I correct, that is going to be included in the, hopefully a separate bill, not actually on our tax bill, but it's a one-time payment, and that is what we project. That should come in October, mid-October,
It'll go out with the tax.
with the tax bills, okay, in the same envelope.
I don't think it's the same one.
Okay, same time, payable on the same day?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were collecting, probably project the collections to roll in January, between November and January.
Do we know how collections are going with that, with this stormwater?
Yeah, they're not doing too good. So we are going to resend another bill with the penalty on it for those that hadn't paid. So I think we're at about 50% collection.
Yeah, you got some like Atlanta who, they've got all the runways and all the buildings, and when that comes in, I'll start looking at different, some of the larger ones that have.
We'll try to find a way not to pay it.
Yeah, they're probably trying to.
We know where they live.
The city of Atlanta has to pay it?
When were these bills that have not, that only 50% have been paid, when did they go out?
January.
They went out in January, okay.
That was for the half year and
Right,
then.
the half year.
Remember, we had the startup half year.
Okay, okay. All right.
Yeah, because I accidentally almost didn't pay mine. I just found mine about a month ago under some stacks of papers. I paid with my late fee. With my late fee.
Thank you.
Yes, give us some extra money, you guys. So we are gonna send out another notice to them saying, hey, you guys haven't paid. Okay. All right. Because we were talking about leaning the house, but probably for the cost to lean the house, might as well send out 4 or 5 letters, certified letters for that cost.
Unless they get way behind it, just be.
Right.
So that it just,
Right. Okay.
Other questions?
So pretty much that's the only change in your thing is just that 2014 bond payment. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't ask for that bond payment, we put her to me, but somebody did.
Only money, Lee.
That's right.
It's got to slide in.
You ready?
All right, any
Yeah.
other questions? Go ahead.
All right, let's take a look at the capital projects here, and I'm gonna talk, at 10,000 feet, and I'll ask my expert, to jump in and really go into the details if you have questions, but the main projects for next year are the railroad corridor, screening that project. We have the Dogwood streetscape, that's already started. You see the big orange barrels, unless there's one missing, John will know where to look for it. This one is a misnomer. We're gonna have Lee talk about that one.
Which one?
We're not gonna do the MARTA station improvements. That was something like with the bus stops. I don't think that's gonna happen. The earmark for the Loop Road, we're still working on the Loop Road project and definitely need to work through that. CDBG is our funding from Community Development Block Grant, our usual DOT money to do street repairs, and then our North Central Phase 2 study. So, Lee, I'm going to have you kind of jump in and explain what these projects are and kind of how this process works, because we basically have to budget for the whole price of the project. And then, of course, it's a matter of cash flow in terms of, you know, what the grant comes in, and he does a great job in timing this, working with finance to time these bills, so. that
And
we
this is
don't-
a big question that I have, and if you could move to the next slide, that's not the
Okay.
pie, it's actually the
Yeah,
numbers on it.
sure.
That would help me as we go through it, because, again, I look at this, and I don't know what these are. You know, I don't, so I know the railroad, we've been talking about a $3 million railroad grant for, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. And I see that last year, did we spend $2,500,000, or, you know, the year before, did we spend $20,000, and the year before $150,000? I mean, did we spend that?
No,
No.
what this is basically
Would you go ahead and go through this one?
dealing with Federal Highway and GDOT. These grants have to be pretty fluid. Like, for example, I just found out Monday that Loop Road was scheduled for construction at the end of this year, and now it's been moved back. We've dealt with right-of-way issues with the city of Atlanta, which it takes them a month or two just to respond. We budget each year from the best estimates we have that it's going to be under construction. 9 out of 10 times, they're usually delayed. So we budgeted for these things before, like we budgeted for Dogwood to be under construction last year. Well, it didn't get under construction, but it is under construction now. We do have to budget for it. So like the Loop Road, that figure is going to be pulled out, 4.2. That will not be under construction until 2018.
So what is that 4.2? Is that a grant?
That's the total amount of the construction of the project.
Okay, and so that means we would owe maybe 800,000 on that, the 20%.
20%.
And that's not reimbursed, that just has to come out of our, see, that's, to me, that's the important part, is what we have to pay. So I'm, you know, I'm confused on why we're looking at this big $10,560,000.
Because GASB rules make you do it that way.
Yeah, it's just an accounting. We have to account for the whole project.
We have to present the entire project in our budget. We can't just present the match. Gatsby changed that a few years back.
Like the rail facilities project, that's 100%. That was a federal earmark. So there's not a match.
There's
Well,
no
there
match.
was 150,000 match because we recently obtained 600,000 more dollars, but that was originally no match on that project.
Right.
Some of these are 80-20, some of them 100%. Some of them are a 30% match, the LMIG program. The North Central Study Phase 2, what that is, you know, we did the streetscape all the way down to Samuel Hague Plaza. Well, we want to do Phase 2, which would take it from Samuel Hague Plaza to I-75. That would be Phase 2. But the first thing you do before you get funds is you have to do a study on it. So we applied for the study funds, we got that. So now we've got to do this study first before we apply for the construction funds. That's 100,000. So most of these, they just, from year to year, you just don't know when they're going to get off the ground.
So if we, excuse me, so if we look at actual 13, 14, actual 14,